Use details in narrative writing. Details make a story interesting. Details help the reader imagine characters, events, or objects in a story. Let's look at an example. Umar's parents planned a surprise party for his 10th birthday. He and his friends shouted wildly when they saw it in the backyard. It was a bouncy house shaped like a castle. In this story, the phrase shouted wildly adds detail and describes what Umar's friends did when they saw the surprise in the backyard. The sentence, "It was a bouncy house shaped like a castle," adds a detail and description about the surprise they saw in the backyard. Details make a story interesting and help the reader imagine what is happening. As you work on this skill, keep these key questions in mind. Does the word or sentence add detail to the story? Is the detail about the correct character or object? Is the detail about the correct emotion, action, or idea? And finally, does the detail use the most descriptive language? The details you choose should add vivid description, so be sure to avoid selecting answers that are vague or general. Let's look at some examples of general details versus vivid details. Remember, a vivid detail is more specific than a general description or detail. A vivid detail helps the reader imagine the events, objects, or people in the story. Look at the first example. A lot of stars versus a million stars. A million stars would be a lot of stars, but it's more specific. The same is true for good food versus delicious food. Good is a vague or general word. Delicious is much more specific. What about a nice bike versus a sparkly pink bike? A sparkly pink bike helps us imagine what kind of bike it is. Be sure when you are practicing this skill, you're looking to add in more vivid and specific detail. Let's practice. You are writing a story about Peter. Choose the words that add the most detail to your writing. Notice there are 2 places we will be adding details to our writing. Let's practice with just one. Let's read the first part of this story together. Peter had tickets to see his favorite band called The Breaks. The Breaks were blank. Now you will need to choose the words that add the most detail. Is it A, so famous, or B, the most popular band on earth? Which words add the most detail to the story? That's right. B, the most popular band on earth is the correct choice. Although both could describe the band, most popular band on earth is more descriptive. Now let's look at a different example. For this skill, you might also be selecting a sentence that adds detail, not just a word or phrase. Let's read this together. You are writing a story about your pet dog, Squash. I was spending my birthday with my dad and my dog named Squash. My dad played a birthday song. Then Squash put his paws in the air, so my dad started dancing with Squash. Which sentence would be best to add to show your reaction to Squash's dancing? Let's look at the answer choices. A, I started to laugh loudly at Squash and my dad. B, Squash still loves to dance with his paws in the air. Or C, Dad and Squash spun around until they were dizzy. Remember to think about the key questions. Now, which answer choice is best? That's right. A is the best to add because it shows the narrator's reaction to Squash's dancing, while B and C describe Squash and the narrator's dad. As you practice, remember that the best details will help make a story more interesting.